G'day guys and welcome to Aussie English. My objective here is to teach you guys the English spoken down under. So whether you want to speak like a fair dinkum Aussie, or you just want to understand what the flippin' hell we're on about when we're having a yarn, you've come to the right place. So sit back, grab a cuppa and enjoy Aussie English. G'day guys, welcome to this episode of Aussie English. Today's an expression episode and the expression is to be as keen as mustard or to be keen as mustard. So to be as keen as mustard or to be keen as mustard. And sometimes there we just drop that first as. For some reason in English we often chop things out, and that's just one example where you can say the first as keen as mustard, or you could just say it without it. Keen as mustard. So this expression comes from Trista, who sent me a message on Facebook and asked me if I could do an episode on this expression and explain what it means and how to use it. So the definition of the phrase as keen as mustard or keen as mustard means to be very enthusiastic, to be very eager and interested in everything. So to be very keen in general. And anytime you see something like this phrase that's in the structure of as keen as something, it's just going to mean that something is incredibly keen. And this goes for most, if not all, phrases where you have as something as in the phrase. It doesn't matter whether or not you understand the very last word that it's being compared to. It could be as keen as anything. The main point here is that something is just very keen or very whatever the word is between as something as. That was probably a bit confusing, but hopefully you get the idea. So let's go through and define the two words in this sentence that you may not know. Keen. Keen just means having or showing eagerness or enthusiasm. So you could be a keen footballer, which means you just really like football. You could be a keen surfer. You really like surfing. So you could be really keen to go surfing, which means you're really eager to go surfing. You could be keen to go see the football. You could be really eager or enthusiastic about going to see the football. So that's what the word keen means. Mustard. Mustard is a type of sauce, so it's a hot-tasting yellow or brown paste or sauce made from the crushed seeds of certain plants, and it's typically eaten with meat or used as a cooking ingredient. And this is the kind of thing that you'll see from time to time in Australia. It's not very popular. In Australia, tomato sauce is actually quite a lot more popular than mustard, and the equivalent of tomato sauce in the US, for example, would be ketchup. But in the US, you'll have mustard everywhere, especially when you watch people buy hot dogs on TV shows or in movies, especially in places like New York. When they get a hot dog, quite often you'll see them put mustard on it, and the mustard is in that yellow sauce bottle that people will use. That's the mustard. So this phrase is actually quite old and originates from the 1600s. And mustard, obviously, has been eaten and used in cooking for a very long time, and it was an essential accompaniment to beef. So it would often be eaten with beef or served with beef, and it became associated with vigor and enthusiasm because it added zest and flavor to beef when it was served. So I'll run you guys through some examples of how and when you might hear as keen as mustard or keen as mustard. So, for example, number one, imagine someone just got a new job somewhere and it was the job that they've always wanted. So you could say it was their dream job and they're going to get paid really well. They get to work in an amazing company with amazing people. But on the first day that they start, their new boss tells them that part of their job is going to be something relatively unpleasant and it's going to involve cleaning the toilets every day. So you could say that you were keen as mustard to begin your new job until you learned that you had to clean the toilets. So you were as keen as mustard. You were incredibly enthusiastic and eager to start the job. You were as keen as mustard until you realized that you were going to have to clean toilets. So example number 2, imagine that you are a football player, a footy player, you're footy mad, you love the game and everything to do with the game of football. You've been playing since you were young, you've been thinking about it every single day, literally living it day in, day out, every single day. You grow up playing on amazing teams as a young kid and all throughout high school, and then when you finish high school, when you graduate, you get drafted to your favourite team in the AFL, in the Australian Football League, the AFL. So when the first game starts and you're about to run on the field for the very first time, you could say, I'm as keen as mustard to get onto the field and play footy and represent my team. I've always wanted to do this. I am keen as mustard to play. Example number 3, say you know someone who's a single person, a single man, he doesn't have a girlfriend, but he's looking for a girlfriend or a boyfriend. And maybe ultimately a wife or a husband. So you're trying to help this person meet some new ladies or some new guys, and you ask them to parties, you ask them to come over to your house, and say you've organized a pretty casual event where you guys are just having dinner and watching some TV, and your friend who's single and looking for a partner shows up, but he's dressed in a suit and he's holding a bunch of flowers and holding some chocolates. And so you could open the door and see this. You could see him in the suit holding flowers with chocolates, and you could say, Jesus, mate, you're as keen as mustard, aren't you? So it's that kind of, wow, dude, you're incredibly keen. You're clearly very eager. You're clearly very enthusiastic. It was meant to be casual, but wow, you're as keen as mustard. And the last example could be that you are a keen surfer. You absolutely love surfing. Your friends and you want to go out surfing this weekend, but say it's Friday and you're going to go out surfing tomorrow on Saturday. You may show up on Saturday morning, and after they've shown up, knocked on the door, come inside, you're like, well, I'm already ready. All my stuff's in the car. It's packed. Let's go. They could say, whoa, Jesus, man, we only just arrived. You're as keen as mustard. So you could say that you were as keen as mustard to go surfing, and it's that kind of idea of, you're already prepared, you're incredibly eager, you're incredibly enthusiastic, everything's set up. The other guys just wanted to kind of relax and eventually get to the beach, but you were incredibly keen to do it straight away. You're as keen as mustard. So that's really all there is to this phrase, as keen as mustard or keen as mustard. I hope that helps, Trista. I hope it's made the sense of this phrase a little bit easier to understand. So before we end here, guys, I might do a listen and repeat exercise, and I'll run through this twice. I'll do it at a slower speed first, and then I'll do it at a very natural speaking speed for me as a native. I was as keen as mustard. You were as keen as mustard. He was as keen as mustard. She was as keen as mustard. We were as keen as mustard. They were as keen as mustard. And so I'll go through this one more time, but I'll do it at a quicker speed so that anyone who's finding this exercise a little too easy at the moment can take it up another notch, make it a little bit more difficult. I was as keen as mustard. You were as keen as mustard. He was as keen as mustard. She was as keen as mustard. We were as keen as mustard. They were as keen as mustard. So that's it, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I hope every time that you start listening to Aussie English, you're as keen as mustard to learn English. Anyway, I'll chat to you soon, guys, and I wish you all the best. See you later. You've been listening to the Aussie English podcast. If you like what you hear, please come and join our Facebook community and like and share this episode in order to help the podcast grow. If you'd like to support the Aussie English podcast, please consider donating a few dollars on my Patreon page, which will be linked in the episode transcript. The more you guys donate, the more time and effort I can spend improving the podcast. Until next time, guys, all the best.